Good evening once again. 462 days in. All is well. This one here says, Dinerezze fare batrinezze, chiviazze fare de muerte. It's actually the name of a book, but it's also a theatrical production which this is advertising. And it's very hot. Today, walking in the sun was like, yes, laser beams. Anyway, we're going to do something different. We're going to make a change. We have just been reporting on the progress since I stopped eating carbs. Well, it's time to do something a little more interesting, perhaps a little more say relevant, to the point. So I sat down and put pen to paper, and when I finished doing that, I went through it again, and because you always revise. Write 5, revise to 3. Oh, okay, so what we have here, and it's all handwritten, so that might be a bit, and this light's very bright, and it's like, it's nighttime. So we have a script for a video essay on veganism. And we start with taking from the Vegan Society website. Veganism is a philosophy and a way of life which seeks to exclude, as far as possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of animals, exploitation of and cruelty to animals. Okay, so that Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals was already in place to look after that aspect. And it continues on. Okay, to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. And by extension, promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes a practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. And further on, we have this quote, ethical veganism ideology claims that all animals have fundamental rights, the same as humans. Even keeping pets is wrong. Okay, so we've already taken it into people for ethical treatment of animals area. So you can see there's some very noble ideas in here, which obviously some people don't think are taking them to extremes. Now, a little bit of history. 1944, Watson, who was a vegetarian and a conscientious objector, got it into his head that we shouldn't shouldn't have any milk or eggs or honey or any of that stuff that comes from living creatures. And he set up the Vegan Society. He took it to the Vegetarian Society, which he was a member of, and they said, yeah, it's a nice idea, but it's not what we're doing, because you've got a few varieties of vegetarian. There's the lacto-vegetarian, which is a traditional one that's been around for like since 6th century BC or something. And then there's ovo-lacto-vegetarians, which is sort of used pretty standard Western version. So yes, animal eggs and dairy products. Now, if you're going to drop out dairy products from your dining table, you're going to be missing out on a few things. And the only way to get around that is to have supplements. Now, supplements are things that are made in a laboratory and mimic animal products, but beta carotene is not, is it not? Your B12, well, there's only one way to get B12, and that's not by fiddling around in a test tube. Okay, so ethical, yes. So we have here, it's a philosophy, a way of life, an ideology, but not a religion. You can't have a religion. It's ethics. Okay, so yes, the environment. Yes, soybeans, wonderful for the environment, along with all those wonderful agricultural areas, like monoculture and I know what happens when they go in and harvest the grain crops, because all the little animals are running off in all directions, hoping not to get eaten by the harvesting machine. And while they're all off running all over the place, all the birds of prey are going, oh, look, lunch. Boom. Just fair enough. That's what they're there for. So there's one phrase I'd like to go back to here with this dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. Now, when you're growing all of these crops, you can't just sort of like put the seed in whatever it is you're growing. You can't just put it in the ground and water it and walk away, and a couple of months later it's bingo. No, it doesn't work that way. The nutritional value of any plant is dependent on the nutritional value in the soil that it's grown in. There's a lot of science behind the microbiota in soil, things like fulvic acid and humic acid and all the various fungi little things like springtails and, like under the microscope, animal life. It's, I'm just trying to remember, this was back in last century when I was studying this business, because I was trying to grow vegetables at the time. Yeah, you can get a teaspoonful of soil, whack it under the microscope there, and it's teeming with life. It is like you'd have to be poking around in a rainforest to get something as lively. Now, so yes, life. But yeah, so how do you get this life into the soil? What's the magic solution to this? Well, normally animals walk around. They eat a bit of this here and a bit there, and it comes out, goes in one end and comes out the other, back into the soil. Animals, animal products. You can't grow your plant-based diet without animal products. And yet it says here, dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. So there's a bit of a catch-22 there. I mean, it does say, as far as possible and practicable, but yeah, it's like actually impossible and impractical if you take it to the degree that some people are trying to push it these days, even highly placed people with noble intentions, and they've got the money to give themselves the right kind of media coverage. Spin. Now, where are we? Yeah. Hang on. There's a few more pages yet. So, considering the flaws in this scheme, I see three responses. One, continue to give lip service to the ideology, because it's not a way of life, because it's not really a way of life, because it's not really a way of life. Continue to give lip service, or if you like really want to get ultra noble about it, totally, oh yes, the ethics of the situation says that I can't do X, Y, and Z, therefore there is only one thing left. Become a breatharian. There's a few problems with that. I remember there was some American fellow with a Lithuanian name. He wrote a book called Living into the 21st century, if I remember. I did have it. He was dead before 1990 because he became a breatharian. He started out as obese. Went, well, vegetarian, vegan, I can't remember which. And of course, presumably vegan, because he did the right thing and became a breatharian. And yeah. Yes, if you drink water and breathe and maybe Stare into the sunshine with your eyes shut. A bit of that vitamin D in there. You're going to live for a while, but only for a while. Okay, that's two options going down the path of the ideology. The third option, response, the third response is go back to where we started. There is the various Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, which I support. Happen to might like animals, and I mean once I had a scorpion wander in under the front door, and I picked him up on a sheet of paper and took him out to the garden and left him out there to enjoy life, but not be underfoot in the house. That kind of thing, you know. You don't have to kill spiders, scorpions, or you discover that a mouse has made a nest inside your house somewhere. Oh look, this box of books. Oh God. Oh look, there's a mouse and with its little babies. What to do? Yeah, you'd find a nice space outside under the trees somewhere with lots of pine needles and stuff, and off they go. Not as dry, but sort of like what they would have had in nature anyway, outside of the house. Yes, had all sorts of things in the house, birds and bats and frogs and lizards and scorpions and spiders, and yeah, you just let them out. Escort them out the door or the window, whichever's appropriate. Yeah, that's it. So you don't have to go around killing things just because they're in the wrong place for you. You know, like, oh, the moles and the voles have made little holes in my crop of barley. I will go broke. I will have to get rid of them. That was the thinking in the 19th century. No, we don't do that either. We've got 18 minutes already. That's okay. Yeah. Oh, yes. And what was it? The other thing? Environment. I remember years and years ago, Doc Martens, you know, the guys with the boots, they were advertising plastic boots for vegans. Plastic instead of leather. Can you imagine wearing plastic boots? God, I'd rather wear barefoot than that. Yeah, well, you know, I just wasn't that trendy enough to wear lace-up boots because I had my very nice elastic-sided boots, which I still have a pair of. Although in the summer I just have slip-on casuals. I'm really not too sure about this shoelace business. It's sort of like, why do you need shoelaces for if boots just slip on and slip off? It's not as if, I don't know. No, truly, I just haven't used shoelaces since last century sometime because you don't need them. Oh, where are we? Yes, Okay, small animals in fields and orchards. Yes, they all have a good life until they get baited or harvested. Yes, the word is vermin. They're regarded as vermin and should be eradicated because they're vermin. Anyway, So the well, what's it with this plant food stuff anyway? Plants become carbohydrates, which become sugars, which become alcohols, which are toxins. And even then, they also have phytotoxins, oxalates, and all sorts of wonderful stuff that you don't really want to eat. It's a bit like malnutrition. You're not getting your B12, you're not getting this, you're not getting that, blah, blah, blah. But with this, you're getting stuff that, no, you don't really want it. It's sort of like, oh, I have a bed of roses. It looks so wonderful. It smells so beautiful. A bed of roses, yes. Well, it's also a bed of thorns. Yes, plants. Yes, plants. Toxins. I mean, without even ingesting the slow working ones. You've got these other ones. Allergic reaction. It gives me an allergy. Makes my skin blister. Or oh, he was alive half an hour ago. What happened? Yeah. So yeah. So even these slow working ones, basically what they do is disrupt the metabolism by blocking real nutrients. Heme iron, not iron, but heme iron. Retinol we need, not beta carotene. I mean, just making your liver work overtime with beta carotene to get it to turn into retinol. And the body makes sufficient vitamin C. If it doesn't, sufficient for its purposes, if it is not having to cope with phytotoxins, which come with, carbs. And yes, vitamin C. Yes, vitamin C. You have enough vitamin C in your body if you're not eating carbs. But if you are eating carbs, you could get scurvy. I don't have scurvy. I haven't been eating carbs I'm into the 16th month of no carbs, no vitamin C from the lemons or the leafy green dream machine or anything. It's just like, yep. Meat, eggs, dairy. But to be honest, last year I had some mulberries, and this year I had about 4 mulberries and a plum because the tree's out in the backyard. Nice little plums. They're everywhere, all around town, and there's walnuts as well. One of the advantages of living in Europe. It's just there. It's just what they do. Nice shady trees. Leaves all fall off so you get a bit of sunshine in the winter. So, if you're not eating carbohydrates with all their attendant problems, what do you eat? Well, fats and proteins. And I mean fats, not oils. Oils aren't fats. In fact, oils are, well, what I was just talking about before, disrupting the metabolism, causing all sorts of problems that will make your Make your doctor, if you've got one, rub his hands together and go, oh yes, oh yes. Let's see what we can do with this one. Doctors aren't like that, not in this part of the world anyway. Okay. So carbs versus fats. Okay, so I suggest you get on the internet, even YouTube, and check out the Randle cycle. That's Randle, Randle, something that was discovered in the 60s when I was still a lad at school, 60s. What's that for? It was 60 years ago, around about 60 years ago. It's been known about for the last 60 years, so you should be able to find the relevant information on YouTube by now. It is there. Okay, and yes, oh, but the brain runs on glucose. Well, yes, the body makes it. The liver does. It produces glucose when on demand, when your brain or whatever needs glucose, it goes, there you go, have some. You don't have to ingest it. Because, I mean, you know, like we go back to carbs. Carbs turn into sugar. It's a problem. I mean, it upsets your insulin. Just, you got blood sugar running around all over the place and your insulin's going, what the fuck am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with this? Oh, I know, I'll just stuff it, turn it into, that's too much to burn now, I'll just turn it into fat and stuff it somewhere. Yep. So the body makes its own glucose, it makes its own vitamin C, and it makes pretty much, it just, you do it, you treat it right, it will just run like a dream. Yeah, okay, we got through that quick enough. Final word. This is what happens when you sat down and let the pen do the talking and then go back and edit it. You've already got it in your head. You just have this nice set out memory, memory jogger. Okay, final word. When I was 16, I got a yoga book out of the library. It advised to avoid highly processed foods and to eat only when or if hungry. Now, yes, as you can guess, I did follow that advice to the best of my ability in the last 58 years. Been a few times where I was hungry and I couldn't eat anyway. But no harm done. It's called fasting, isn't it? Yes. I mean, my father was a prisoner of war for 3.5 years, and he didn't eat often, but he seemed to have got through it in one piece. A lot of people didn't, but he did. He lived till he was 84. No, oh yes, okay. Now, so I eat only meat and fats, eggs, butter, various dairy products, because here we have lapte de bout and sana and kefir and yaourt and lapte. And then we have the butter, and then we have the teleme and bronzer and kashkaval, which are cheeses. Sort of gone off cheese for a while, but butter. I always have a bit of butter on my steak, or nearly always. And I cook in unta, which is lard, and I've just about ran out. I'll have to go and find another little block of it. It lasts for, I think that must have gone, a good year at least. It's just a little, hardly any. You just put the little teaspoon in and get some and put it in the pan. Does the job. Okay, so yes. That's it, isn't it? Yes. 16 months in, no decline in health, 11 kilos down from bordering on obesity. Strength has increased, as demonstrated in earlier videos. Half an hour. Oh well. I better say good night then and wish you all good health. Ciao.